Hello and welcome to this training video produced by Colorado Gives Foundation, which will demonstrate how you can create your own customized, impactful, planned giving materials all in about the next 60 minutes or so. We are going to tell you why it's important to be doing this now, exactly what you can say, show you in a free software version of Canva just how to make these materials, and lastly, even map out who to send them to. And the result will hopefully an organizational changing gift for your nonprofit in the future. That's our goal in the next hour. My name is Tim Zeckser. I am the endowment manager at Colorado Gives Foundation. Joining me today is Elizabeth Burg, founder of Burg Media. Thank you for joining us, Elizabeth.
Thanks for having me, Tim. I'm excited to be here.
Well, we're excited to have you. Our mission at Colorado Gives Foundation is to connect people, ideas, and organizations to make good happen. We study topics like planned giving, grant making, digital fundraising, and much, much more. But why we're especially excited to partner with Burg Media is because not only do we want to give you the best planned giving content, but we also want to make it accessible. And so Elizabeth has put together some really, really great templates that we're going to show you in just a second, and they're going to help you customize and take those best practices in planned giving and make them your own. So I'll turn it over to her in just a little bit. But here is our agenda for today. Simon Sinek talks about starting with why, and that's what we're going to do. So we're going to start with, why is this important? Why do you need to focus on planned giving right now? And why partner with the Colorado Gives Foundation? Then we're going to talk about how you're going to do this. How you're going to do this by merging best practices in planned giving with customizable templates. Then both today and also in a live workshop a little bit, which we'll talk about, we will help coach you through how to get this out there. That's our agenda for today. We also will mark the different segments with different chapters. So if you are watching this video and you want to repeat the portion on customizing your planned giving brochure, or you want to show your board members or your executive director or your development team the portion on why planned giving is vital right now, we've marked those for you in this video for you to be able to find. With that, let's jump right in and talk about why planned giving is important. Well, why is it important? Simply put, the baby boomer generation is leaving trillions of dollars to charity. Here is a visual on what that looks like and where it might go. As you can see, some of those dollars they'll leave to others in their generation, some to Generation X, some to millennials, a lot to millennials, but anywhere up to $18 trillion could be going to charities. You might be saying, Tim, we've been hearing about this great wealth transfer for quite some time, and my organization is not really seeing any uptick in planned giving. Well, if that's your case, I believe you. You might not be receiving planned gifts, but it is absolutely happening. This is a slide from PG Calc, and at the time we're recording this, we're actually just a week or two away, maybe even less, from Giving USA releasing their newest report that they release every single year. And they look at 4 different categories of giving: bequests, individuals, corporations, and foundations. And bequests continues to be the one that is growing the fastest. It's the only giving source out of the 4 that I mentioned that exceeded inflation, grew faster than inflation did in 2023. So even if you're looking at slightly old data, and some new data is already out by the time you're watching this, my guess is that the next report will be similar to this one. Planned giving continues to rise. In fact, it has quadrupled over the last 40 years, and especially in the last decade. Why? Why is all of that happening? Well, they're not called baby boomers for no reason. You can see from this graph that it's just a massive generation. And when you combine the sheer size of this group of people with the economic growth that has occurred in their lifetime, and especially in their earning years, well, alas, the baby boomers possess a lot of assets. So where is this all going? Russell James, the very brilliant data analyst and plan giving expert, says that it's happening. The money is going to nonprofits, but universities and big organizations like the American Red Cross and the Salvation Army are really the ones who are benefiting. Why? Why is that? Well, because they have the resources, they have the staff, they have the materials to ask for it. And that's what we're going to try to do today, is give you some of those resources. So one more piece of information to maybe get you excited, or maybe just to get you a little scared, I'm not sure, perhaps a bit of both. But this is a quote from Brian Klontz, another great plan giving expert. Brian says, by 2035, 20% of your operating budget should come from endowments. Thought we were talking about plan giving. Now we're talking about endowments. Well, I'll link them in a second here. But 20% should be coming from endowments. Well, he says this for two big reasons. One, those changes in donor demographics that we just looked at, and the wealth transfer. So donors with a lot of assets who love you might not be around in 10 years. So how do you accommodate, or so how do you account for that change in philanthropic revenue that you might not be getting in 10 years? Two, he says there's a lot more competition every single year in the marketplace. We think about 75,000 new nonprofits emerge in the United States each year. If you Google this, it actually says closer to 100,000. But either way, that's a lot of new nonprofits. So 20% of your operating should be coming from endowments by 2035. If you're watching this, then your organization likely has an endowment with us at Colorado Gives Foundation, and we are dedicated to helping you build that endowment right now to set yourself up for a healthier future. So now is the time to start building an endowment. And why we're talking about plan giving is because plan giving, legacy giving, people writing you into their will, that's the easiest way to build an endowment. Recap, donors will leave trillions of dollars to charity in the coming years. Additionally, two other trends I want to mention. First, for every one donor that tells you that they left you in their will, there could be 2 or even 3 others that wrote you in but didn't tell you. So even if you feel like you're not making a lot of headway, only a couple donors are talking to you about maybe leaving you in their will, that's okay, because it actually could be a lot more. And lastly, and this is really cool, I think, donors will actually increase the gifts that they make to you on an annual basis after they put you into their will. So I talked to some fundraisers, and they might be hesitant to pursue planned gifts or asking donors to write them in their will because they think it detracts from annual giving. It doesn't. It actually does the opposite, which is pretty neat. Donors will actually give 75% more on an annual basis than before they put you in their will. Wow, huh? But it makes sense. It makes sense. If they're writing you in their will next to their children or next to their pets or next to their other favorite things, then they clearly care about you and they want you to thrive. So do your annual operating budget a favor and get these planned giving materials out the door. Yeah, I said that right. Do your annual operating budget a favor and go through this workshop with us and get these out the door. So that's the why. Why is this important? That's what we just wanted to cover right there. That kind of starts us into the next portion, which is how. How are we going to do this? And with the understanding of some best practices, and then we are going to put we're going to highlight 5 proven trends in planned giving, which correlates to some language and sections that Elizabeth has included in her templates. Look at this. I even raised my hand by accident. So the 5 proven concepts. And all of these, again, are concepts that we have tried to put into the materials that you're about to see and Elizabeth is about to run you through. So number 1, use social norms. There's some great studies out there that show how powerful it is to use social norms. If you can, please tell a story. Tell a story. The more specific, the better. Tell a story about a board member or a volunteer or a longtime donor, a former donor, or a former board member or a former executive director. The more specific, the better. If you want to get your board to add you to their wills, tell a story about the board member. If you have great volunteers, tell a story about a volunteer who put you in their will. Whatever it is. Humans are such social creatures, and they're more likely to do something if you say that somebody else like them also did that. So that's we include a section in there for you to tell a story, hopefully about other people that have put you in their will. Second, use easy terms, simple words, easy terms. A couple of times today, I might say the word bequest. I already think I said that, talking about Giving USA. I might later say estate plan or perpetuity, but we really are trying not to use those words. You could say estate plan, that just means your will, but donors might not know that. They might think an estate plan is your castle in Scotland, and they don't have a castle in Scotland to give you. So we're going to try not to use those words. We're going to try to use simple words like will, like make a lasting impact, things like that. Dr. Russell James has a whole section on words that work. So if you want an extra deep dive into that, you can just Google Russell James words that work. You can look at a 10-minute video, a 60-minute video, all sorts of things. But we have tried to take some of his words that work and put them into your material. So instead of saying create a bequest from your estate plan, which can fund something to last in perpetuity, we don't know what that means. You can say, by including us in your will, you can make an impact that lasts forever and doesn't cost you anything today. The simpler, the better when it comes to words. The simpler, the better also when it comes to the types of gifts that donors can make. I know I said I wouldn't use the word bequest, but we won't use that with donors, but here we'll use it maybe just 1 or 2 more times. But 90% of planned gifts are bequests, which just means someone wrote you in their will. They may have named you as a beneficiary of an insurance policy. They may have left a fixed dollar amount. More likely, they left a percentage of their total worth, their total estate plan. So if you have, until you master the plan giving, I would keep it as simple as I can. You could accept 90% of all planned gifts by just talking about donors writing you into their will. That's number 3. Number 4, and this is a great area where Colorado Gives Foundation can support you. Like I said, if you're watching this, chances are that you have an endowment fund with Colorado Gives Foundation already. And statistically, donors like making a forever impact with their legacy gift, their planned gift, with what they write into their will. So by partnering with us, you can even name another fund after a donor. That could be very attractive to somebody who is considering putting you in their will. Maybe they want to honor a loved one. Maybe they want to engage the next generation in philanthropy. Maybe they just want to be remembered. There's studies that show men in particular really just want to be remembered. So for whatever reason, an endowment can be very attractive, which is why we've included some of that language in your template as well, talking about the partnership with Colorado Gives Foundation. And then last one, just be in their mind, be on their mind. It's hard to control when donors update their will or meet with their financial advisor or their tax attorney, but when they do, we want them to think of you. We want them to do what they already want to do, which is make a positive impact through your organization. And that's and you can tell them you would be honored to be included in their will in their plans. That's what these printed materials, that's what these templates are all about, is that you are on their mind when they're in that critical moment. So that's it. Those are the 5 best practices that we have tried to infuse into these templates and into these materials. With that, I will now pause and turn it over to Elizabeth Burg to walk us through exactly how to customize what we've created so it represents your organization. Elizabeth, I'll turn it over to you. Still pause. We got you on mute. Elizabeth, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Tim. My name is Elizabeth Burg. I am a conversion copywriter. And what that means is I help organizations like yours turn interactions with potential customers and donors into sales and donations. I'm in the business of trying to help people communicate better to benefit their organizations. And I'm thrilled to be here on this webinar with Colorado Gives. Today, we're going to talk about how to navigate Canva to create assets that align with these best practices that Tim has introduced today. And this session is specifically designed for small nonprofits that don't have a dedicated marketing or design staff. These tools will help you create high quality materials without having to start from scratch. Tim has given a variety of reasons about why this is important on the financial side, but I also want to remind you that nonprofits that rely on clear and compelling communication to engage their donors will have a stronger brand identity, and it will help the people that you're in relationship with see a higher investment in you, leading to increased donor retention and engagement. And our goal today is to give you the tools to help make those materials easier and more effective for you. So as Tim mentioned, we are going to jump in to a couple things, but one of the things I want you to hold into the back of your head while we do this is, what is the greatest challenge that you're trying to solve today? Are you having a hard time finding time to do this work? Are you having a hard time knowing what to include? Are you having a challenge making the materials look professional? Or do you have a different challenge you're trying to solve? It will help you focus in on the aspects of what we're doing that will help solve those problems for you. So let's jump into Canva and we'll start with the postcard template. I don't know how you're receiving this. If you're in relationship with Colorado Gives, I'm guessing you're receiving the template link in an email. And sometimes we're not sure how to navigate those links. So I'm going to walk you through that. Let's say you received the links from me directly, and we're going to click on the postcard template. This is going to prompt you to either just look at it or edit it. When you select edit, it's not going to change the template for anybody else. This will be your version. And I'm going to decline to open it in the app today so that you can see it how it should look in your browser. If you're someone that ends up using this tool a lot, you can absolutely download the Canva app and it will work a little bit differently, but I find it to be a little bit more consistent. So we're inside the postcard template and we have the image for you to modify. And then also as you move down, we have some example postcards. Sometimes, if you're like me, I learn better when I see what I'm building towards. So we've got some examples down here for you to build towards as well. There's several key areas I want to orient you to on the screen before we get started. The left panel holds elements that include things like text, images, and uploads. Uploads is really helpful for if you have any brand assets like a logo. You can see some of my logos I've uploaded here for the templates that we're working on today. I want to let you know Canva has a free tool, and everything we do today you can do in the free tool. But as a nonprofit, Canva does offer access to their pro version for nonprofits. You just have to prove your nonprofit status and give them a couple days. I did this with an organization a couple weeks ago, and I think I had pro access within about 48 hours. So if you begin to rely on this tool more or would like access to more of the tools, I totally encourage you to invest that time and make it happen. When you click on something, additional tools come up at the top. This includes things like fonts, changing color, alignment, and stuff like that. So what we're going to start with today is editing the text. We want strong donor-focused messages. So instead of something that can be general, like support our cause, we want to try something more specific, like help 100 families access fresh meals. So what we could do, we're going to use that right here. You'll notice every once in a while there's some thin italicized font on here. That is often just reminders to help you out. I'm going to highlight the bold stuff. We're going to find our brand font, which is actually Poppins, let's say. If you have access to fonts and you're not brand fonts and you're not finding your brand font in Canva, if you move to the Pro account, you can absolutely create a brand kit in which it will save your colors. You can upload your fonts and your logos all in one area. You can see it referenced here in the brand kit, but this little crown means that you need a Pro account. So we're going to select Poppins there. And it's going to ask if we want to change everything that's Montserrat into Poppins. Because we're doing this work for the whole thing, we're going to do that. And we're going to input here, help feed 100 students this fall. And what we know is that we have a particular font color. Try here. Let's do that one right there. OOC 44C. This is our font color. And again, it will invite us at the bottom. Do we want to change all black to this brand color? That's not always a great idea because it will literally find everything that's black. Sometimes it is. So what we've done now is we have changed the font color and we have adjusted the, we changed the font type and we changed the font color. And what we can do is once we've done that once, let's close out of this. When we come down here and use a color again, it will reference it up here. So we could change it to that color or we could keep it black. If we have a secondary font, we don't use Poppins. We can again sans do use a common. So we've changed the font, we've changed the name, a direct call to action. Again, Tim talked about keep it simple. Call to actions are important in what we call copywriting because it is what tells the brain that you have a specific thing you want them to do. And the more specific you can make it, the more likely they are to agree to it. So you could put call today to donate. All right. And delete those cues that we had in there. And finally, I want to add our logo here. I've done 3 different things here, and you'll see this on the second page of the template and on our brochure template. Some organizations have a circle logo, some have a square, and some have a rectangle. So I have just mapped out what you could put in there. We're going to use this square one. I'm actually going to line it up with that square. And what I can do is you can zoom in if that makes you more comfortable. But as you drag your corners, it will help lock in. It kind of saw it catch as it tried to lock in there. I'm going to delete the square behind it. Actually, if we click on that, sure we're clear right there. When we click on our logo, this is a little bit more fancy, but we're going to click on position and we can move it backwards and bring those other layers forward. And when we do that, we can delete those other placeholders. So we've added a clear value statement about how donations help the people that we serve. We've put a clear call to action. We've added our logo. And then the last thing we're going to do is we're going to add an image to the back of this. Now, what another best practice is you want to show images that do what Tim talked about, which is tell a story. Using faces of your clientele, your volunteers, your board are really helpful. If you can't show faces, I have examples in our brochure of children where we've eliminated their faces. Um, but it will always work better to use your real people. It will show authenticity and story than using stock images. If for some reason you don't have those, within your elements, you can find stock images as well. And then there's also tools like Unsplash. But let's see here. Let's say feeding students. I'm going to focus in on photos instead of the other videos and other assets. This is going to be a little bit struggle here. And you'll notice if it has a pro here that we cannot use it unless you have a pro account. We're going to take this one. And this green and blue sky image means that it is a placeholder for an image. So it will, if you bring this over, it will automatically fill it for you so that you don't have to worry about that. There's a tip here that says adjust transparency as needed to keep the image present and the text clear. The text is a little bit hard to see based on our colors. As we come to the top where we have fonts and size and color, there's a checkerboard and we can adjust the transparency. It will cover the image a little bit, but it will also allow your information to be covered, to be seen, the words that you've seen. I'm going to pull that information off and we have a cover. Looks like this is off. Again, it's going to try and line those things up. And the second page is the same thing. We have a place to drop our logo, a place to add a story, add a headline. You can change your colors. And I want to move down so that we can look at some examples to better understand. This is the same template. I changed the size of the transparent background so that we could see the woman who is gardening. We used a rectangular logo instead of a square or a circle. We've modified the color and the fonts to match the colors from the logo. The nice thing about when we loaded that logo, I want to close this for a second. When I click on the font and the color selections, it will also invite me to pull colors from my logo, which can be helpful, or the photo in the image behind it. So sometimes I work with organizations that only have one or two brand colors. This expands your options a little bit more. And then we have also used those colors on the back side. We've selected the individual lines, the text, and the square. Use that same spot. Whenever you click on a part, you can then come to the different color. So we've got a chance to change the font color here for this and the square color on the left side. So look for the circle typically or the A to indicate font. And in here, we've utilized the storytelling that Tim recommended. Ed and Maria care deeply about their family's future, and then it talks about giving a gift to kindred roots. We have a second one here. We've used the same organization here. The lantern, change lives forever, start today. Contact us to begin your legacy now. And this one uses a little bit different framework with the instead of storytelling, walking through the different ways that you can give. All right. What's important here, the last thing I want to cover is once you have crafted your template or your postcard, is up here in the top right is share. And you can download from here into either an image file or a PDF, or PDF for print is probably the best option for you. You can tell it that you don't want to print those examples, that we just want to print page 1 and 2 of the template you created. And it will then save that PDF for you, and you can either print it in-house or share it with others. Let's review our key takeaways, Tim. We had 3 key takeaways as we went through the postcard customization. And the key takeaways we have for this are going to apply to the brochure. And the key takeaways we get from the brochure time are going to apply to this as well. I just wanted to make sure that we focused in on 3 things for each of those. 1, we talked about text. You can access the text, you can change the font, you can change what it says. Also in the font area, you can adjust the bold and the italics and the size so that it fits on the postcard and looks good. Second, we talked about brand elements and we came at this from two different angles. We talked about adjusting the colors of your font. You can also, you'll notice on those examples, adjust the colors of the containers that are holding the fonts. So that would be the transparent image on the front and the block that is holding your story or text on the back of the postcard. You can change those colors to match your brand and also upload your logo that suits those scenarios. You'll also see on the examples that one logo on the front is the multicolored one. And for many of you, you have monotone brand logos as well. And you can use that monotone one on the back if you're looking to have that diversification of image, but also the consistency of your organization. And then finally, we talked about replacing images and utilizing those areas where it has that kind of oversimplified grass with the sky background and dropping images in. One of the things we should look at is that upload button where I pulled the logos is you would click on that and you can upload images. Maybe you have some great images from your website that you'd like to include on your postcard. Like your logo, that's the place that you can do that. You can select an image and then drop it in. Or if you are using stock images from somewhere other than Canva, you can go grab those and upload those into Canva there. So those are the three things we talked about in this section of the postcard customization. Now let's jump into the trifold brochure, which will allow you to provide people a little bit more detailed information, which I think I just said, so I'm repeating myself. Let's go back to those links and we're going to click on trifold brochure template and we want to edit it. This is for an 8.5 by 11. No, we do not want to open in the app. We're again going to start with the template at the top. Let me give you a little bit more framework for how I imagine this. Anywhere you see gray is an opportunity for you to add your colors or your logo. So we'll see again this opportunity for a circle, square, or rectangle logo. And then any of the gray is an opportunity to add a little bit of personality from your brand colors. And then we again have an example. This time we're using a nonprofit I named called Bright Steps Literacy Network. And they are using actually 3 different colors to work through this. For the cover panel, so this is a little bit challenging to understand, but if we were to fold this 8.5 by 11, this page on the bottom right, the 6th panel, is actually our cover panel. We want to use an engaging headline with, again, a striking image that draws people in. We're going to then open the brochure. And the first 3 panels, I call them 2, 3, and 4, are going to actually be what they see when they open. And this is where you need to offer clear ways for people to engage with your organization. Now, one of the things that's a little bit confusing as we come back down here is this far left panel is actually what people are going to see when they open. So if they open like a book like this orange, the blue panel is going to move to the left. The orange panel is going to be sitting in front of them. And when they open, those top 3 panels are what they're going to see. And this middle panel is your back. So let us come up to our work here. So insert compelling tagline here. We again see italicized instructions. And we want to make sure that we always include that clear call to action. So let's add our logo here. We're going to come to our uploads. What I didn't walk you through before is if you have an upload file, you just click on that and it's going to open up a whole bunch of my personal stuff. But you can upload from your computer, but you can also upload from these other tools and resources if you save images and stuff in places like Google Drive. I do not see Dropbox on there, which I thought they did at one time. And then you have access to the images that you've uploaded. So in this case, we're going to do a circle. So I'm going to take that. I'm literally just going to drag it in. And we can then start lining it up with our circle image. Actually, it's a square. We can bring this larger so you can see and line that up with everything. I want to make sure that we don't go too far down the road with this into the stuff that we've already done. So In this case, though, I want to show that positioning because it's one of the more challenging. So we have a top line of editing options. We're going to select the see more and we're going to click on position. I don't want to send this to the back. What that will do is it'll put it behind everything. I want you to think about these pieces as like layers, like papers on a table. And we just want to move it backward one up. This says your logo here. So we're going to click on it again to make sure that we're clicking on that circle. You can tell because this has changed to black. And we can just hit delete. Oh, it still has that gray square behind it. So we're going to click on our logo. We're going to select position and we're going to move it backwards one. And we have the gray square in front of it. Oh, I made a mistake. You'll notice the gray square stayed. I'm going to undo it up in this top left corner. You can undo and redo. We're going to bring it to the front so we make sure we know where it is. We're going to select that logo. We're going to move it backwards one. We're going to select something different and come back for that gray square. Oh, we still have something in front of it. So we'll select our logo one more time. Position. If you click on something and it changes, just try again. All of this is reversible. Move that backward. Select that. And we now have our logo here. Some of the things that are important when we talk about trifold brochures, we get a lot of information and we start to fill it. Close to this. What's important when you look at this is that there is white space, that there is space for the reader to engage the information. We are tempted oftentimes to fill all of it. We have some best practice information here about legacy giving, as well as how to partner with Colorado Gives. So again, do a color change so we get that practice. The Colorado Gives information is all in white. So if we were to click on that rectangle, we'll see we have that right rectangle because it'll give us this gray. And we can then pull colors so that we can see, we can select one of our dark colors. Or again, you can put in, if you have the hex code for your brand colors in here, and it will allow these to pop. Let's say you only have light colors. Let's remember we can come in and we can select the text and we can change the text color by coming up to the top left and then changing that. We've set it up also so that these icons can be editable as well. So this icon is currently white, but we know it's not going to work. We can click on the color and we'll come snag that blue. Is that the same one? It is. So I want you to notice there's a purple circle around that when we look at the font, because now we have two blues that are really similar. We selected the one that's purple here. That's the highlighted one. When we come select our icon and our color, we can see that it's the same one again. And we could just come through and adjust those. We have this section set up for a story. It says insert impact story for photo above. This is a great opportunity to actually, if you have a picture of a board member and a board member story, or a donor and a donor story, or a client that you serve and their story and can give that impact, this is that opportunity for you here to play that out. Benefits are on the left. And because it's a partnership with Colorado Gives, you have Colorado Gives information on there as well. In addition to stories, playing to that social norms that Tim talked about, you have an opportunity to use a direct quote. This can correlate to your story. It can be somebody different. If you're trying to appeal to donors and board members, you could use one in one spot and the other. And you want to make sure that you have clear contact information for all your people. As we come down and look at our example, we talk about legacy giving. We talk about how those benefits of giving work. And we have a photo of a client and a volunteer. We've personalized this. The name of this nonprofit is really long, so it looks longer here. Kindred Gardens, I think, was one of the other ones we did. I want to show you. I want to encourage you to feel like you can edit as needed. So you notice like the language worked out weird with the possessive. And even if we left it on there, let's say that is good grammar. I had hit returns trying to make sure this fits. So move around like you would with Word or Pages, whether you're a Mac or Windows user, and get this so that it flows in a way that works. You can adjust the font size. So we talked about the bold, italic, and stuff up here. If you like all uppercase, you can do that. You can adjust. I want to stop for a moment though and get into a little bit more of the technical stuff. We've got a lot of moving pieces in here. So there is what's called rulers. If we come to File and Settings, we can show rulers and guides. And I have built some guides into these templates so that you can line things up. Um, and you can move these or make new ones. So if I come to the far left, I can set that there. And what you'll notice is this box and this image, the outside of it, line up. And you can use that. So if you mess something up, that you can bring it in. You'll notice I'm just going to point at the screen like you could see me. You'll notice that the line goes pink when you get it. Or you'll see, I want you to look in the middle of the square when I do it. There's a dotted line that comes down through the whole panel that shows all of those items are centered. There's value. This is where you move from it looking like you did it on your own to moving into professional spaces. There's also a ruler at the top. You just bring it, touch your cursor down, and we can line up. Looks like I didn't line up that image as well as I had on the other one. So you can always tweak and modify it. This is the type panel. So I want to make sure that you understand that you can find ways within Canva, and the tools and resources in this just increase exponentially. But there are ways to take it and set yourself up for success. When we come back to here, we again have a clear CTA, ready to generously build tomorrow, contact us, and then the contact information. The information about 501c3 on that back panel. We've branded the colors, we've branded the logos, the colors behind the photos, we've also modified. So if we come up to the top here, let's just work with this one. I'm going to come to elements. This is where we can find shapes, graphics, but you can search for things. So let's do senior reading. You can find the photo we want and drop it in that space, but you'll notice the gray around it. When we click on that gray around it, we again get that color option so we can match the branding that we've done. Let's see here. I think that's everything you need to be able to modify this trifold brochure. And it's full. I have left this on the example because you can use this as a caption space. But I would recommend deleting those. But some people want to add a little bit of piece there. And use the tools to catch people's eye and move them to action would be my recommendation. So let's jump into the key takeaways that we got from this part. So let's review. There's a lot that happens in Canva, and we talked a lot in the postcard section and now in this trifold brochure section. So let's talk about the key takeaways in just the trifold brochure section. Utilize white space. There's a lot of room to fill. You may feel compelled to fill it. I'd encourage you to look at other brochures that you've looked at and the ones that are appealing to you. White space is a general term. It might be purple for you, it might be green, but utilize that negative space around your words and photos to give the eyes of your reader a chance to breathe. We didn't talk about this much, but we talked about it when we were looking at those icons in the middle section with the Colorado Gives. Utilize bullet points. Boil down that information to keep it simple, like Tim talked about. Simple is easier for people to understand. In that bullet points on the left where we talked about benefits, you are trying to help the people understand that are reading it why their giving will benefit them, their families, or the people that you serve. So speak to those benefits, not as features, but the things that they will feel and experience, and utilize bullet points to do that clearly. And finally, utilize the opportunity to use your brand colors but also the adjustment tools such as moving the positioning around back and forth, utilizing transparency where it's appropriate, and also utilizing those rulers and guides that you can move. And I want to encourage you, you'll see those guidelines when you're making your edits. They will not show up in your downloads. So if you then send it off to a printer, which you can print through Canva as well, or if you download it and send it internal to a team or someone else, those guides and rulers won't be there. They're simply there to help you make your materials look as professional as possible. That's what I had, Tim. Thank you. What are their next steps for those that are watching?
Thanks so much, Elizabeth, for that run through. We really appreciate that and all the work that you put into creating really accessible, customizable templates. For any reason, if you are watching this and you are still stuck, please go back, rewatch whatever portion is most useful to you. If you're still stuck, that's okay. Join us for our live workshop where Elizabeth mainly will be helping you troubleshoot any blockers that might still be in the way that are preventing you from finalizing these materials. So mark your calendars. That will be happening on July 23rd. But now what? Now what do we do? Now that you've created these beautiful, personable plan giving materials, what do you do with them? Well, we've kind of identified about 4 groups that you might consider putting these in front of. And I've almost ordered them in order of how important they could be. The first is board members. A lot of successful organizations already ask their board members, ask their whole board to hopefully get to 100% annual giving, that every board member is making a gift each year. There's a lot of reasons why that could be important. Is it possible for you to put these in front and reset some board norms that they all will also consider a legacy gift, a planned gift, writing you in their will? So we are happy we think this group is so important that we're happy to actually help write a board engagement plan with you, maybe finding a board champion to do this for you, maybe to tell his or her story about how they did this. There's some really great tactics around board engagement when it comes to plan giving, and we're happy to chat with you further. But board members is a really great group to start with. The second group to go to maybe next would be your longtime donors. And the key to longtime donors is consistency. Those who have continued to give to you year over year. So maybe you try to go into your database and say, who's given to me 20 years in a row? And your goal is to get about 25, maybe depending on your bandwidth, maybe 50 donors who have given to you consistently over the last 20 years. If you don't have that much history, then the last 15 or 10 years. But you're going to shoot for about 25 to 50 donors that have given to you really consistently and try to put these materials in front of them. Again, we don't know when they're going to go in and update their will, or they're going to go talk to their financial professionals. But when they do, we want you on their mind. The next group is volunteers. Some organizations have a great volunteer base. So volunteers could be people who might not have a lot of resources right now, but that's the beauty of planned gifts, is that even if they don't have a lot of resources now, they can still put you in their will, and it could still be a really sizable gift. Again, what both Elizabeth and I said earlier, if you have a story about a volunteer, put it in this and then send it to your other volunteers. That's the beauty of these templates. They're so easy to modify that you can have a story about a board member to put in front of board members. You can have a story about a volunteer to put in front of volunteers. The last group is former board members or former leadership. Engaging them, they care deeply, they've invested a lot in your organization. Not only is this group great because they can make an impact of their own, but they also might even inspire others. You might have a former CEO or former executive director that people really look up to. You might have a former board chair that recruited your current board members, whatever it is. These people might inspire others to also do the same. So next steps to take. Again, if you're stuck at all, please join us on July 23rd. You or someone from your organization will receive an invite to that Zoom workshop. If you don't see that invite for any reason, email me directly. I'm happy to send it to you. Then take what you've just made, get them printed, get them out to the individuals that we have just identified, the board members, the longtime donors, those who are deeply invested in your success. So get those out once you get them created. I also want to point out that August is National Make a Will Month. This is gaining momentum year over year, and it might be worth trying to align some of the strategies that we've talked about here with that event, with that month. And maybe there's people that you could partner with there on your board, or there's other folks with areas of expertise that can help. Again, we'd be happy to talk with you about strategies there. Lastly, if you've missed the July workshop, who knows when you're watching this? Maybe it's 2028 for all I know. And hopefully these principles are still true. But if you've missed the July workshop, or if you have a burning question about something we've covered, or again, you just want to sit down and get help laying out a more robust strategy over anything we've talked about, please contact us at Color Gives Foundation. We are very happy to help. Here's that contact information right now. If you want to work with Elizabeth anytime in the future, she's been fantastic. Of course, there's her email and website address for Burg Media. Here is mine at Colorado Gives Foundation. Elizabeth, thank you so much for being with us today. We really appreciate how accessible you have made all of this.
Thanks for the invitation, Tim. This is fun stuff. I'd encourage everyone, play with it. Practice. You can always click on the link and make a new template. So if you make mistakes, it's always something you can correct. So get in there, get your hands dirty, have a good time.
Yeah. For all of you watching this, thank you for joining us today. We hope you now understand why planned giving is critically important, how you can produce customizable materials and inspire your donors, and then exactly what to do to get those in front of the right people. When a donor that already loves you writes you into his or her will, that can absolutely create an agency-altering gift for your organization. We hope that this video has helped make that moment possible in the near future. Thank you so much, and we look forward to seeing you soon.